Hello, spiritual seekers. It's Sid here, Spiritual Muse here on YouTube, Crystals, of course, on Instagram. And we're just going to jump right in and talk about Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. So that means it's in the sign of Scorpio, right? It's taking place in that astrological sign. And this is going to take place from October 16th at about 9 p.m. until November 3rd at about 12 in the afternoon, okay? So what does this mean, right? Let's talk about Mercury first. So Mercury, if you didn't know it, it's the smallest planet and it's the closest to the sun. It's all about intellect, mindset, learning, and communication. When we think about this time period of Mercury in retrograde, we want to be really mindful of our communication, right? So we want to kind of be more of a witness. So when it comes to communicating, we want to really pay attention to where our Mercury mindset is coming into the situation and to really just have eyes that are loving in any general situation, because remember, everyone is going to be affected by the Mercury retrograde, not just you. So just be willing to just be. This is a time when you're going to really want to slow down, but I got ahead of myself a bit, right? So what actually is the retrograde? So we talked about the planet Mercury. What is a retrograde? So a retrograde is basically when a planet's motion is basically looking like it's moving backwards from our stance on Earth. So from where we are on Earth, it appears like it's moving backwards, right? This happens about 3 times a year. This is the third one this year, right? The first one was right when COVID started. This one, interestingly enough, is happening now right before the U.S. and ending right before the U.S. presidential election. So maybe some weird things happening when Mercury goes direct on November 3rd. We're going to get back into that in a minute. So what does this all really mean? It means that there can be a delay in communication. There can be delays in general. Transportation is going to be difficult. It's going to be a time when you want to really think twice about signing any, agreements, that sort of thing. Especially if it's something that is just popping up at this time, especially because it's in Scorpio. So what is Scorpio all about, right? Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth, transformation, which are all amazing things, right? It's beautiful to be reborn. Then the sort of darker aspects of Scorpio is that it's all about secrecy, things that are hidden, right? So things that are hidden are going to start to surface around this time. And we're going to want to be careful how we communicate, right? Because we may see things we don't mean to at this time, maybe things that are hurtful to other people, and we may be feeling jealous or paranoid at this time. That's possible too. Now, Scorpio is a water sign, right? There's 3 water signs. Scorpio is probably the most intense of all the signs. It's all about secrets. It's about investigation and sexuality. It's the most sexual of all the signs. It's very intense, as I said. The mantra you would have when you're thinking of Scorpio is I desire. Scorpio wants to attain, right? But then we think of that Scorpio tail, right? We got the cat tail here. My cat, it won't leave me alone right now. But we think about that Scorpio tail. It's walking along all calmly, but if you're not careful, that tail will get you. So you got to be really careful with the Scorpio energy. We want to really take time alone during this time to look within. We want to trust our own intuition, right? Because if we're not careful, somebody else can sting us, right? Or we could sting somebody else, right? Because it's always perspective, right? You always have to pay attention how you're affecting other people as well. Now, there's going to be a deep desire for conversation. You're going to want to be careful when you're in conversation that you're not lying and that you're not being lied to. This is a time when stories are going to be big, right? So people might be telling tall tales. They might be telling stories. You might be stuck in your own internal story of your life that is not necessarily the truth anymore. So this is time for you to get rid of that story and really transform with this Scorpio energy into speaking about who you want to be rather than who you feel you have been. I think this is a wonderful time to sort of reinvent yourself and stop living in the past you and start living in who you want to be. Just go ahead and give yourself permission to be that person now. You don't have to be the same as you were yesterday. You can just communicate as if you are a new person, right? So really, what is Mercury all about, right? For each person, it's a little bit different. We all communicate in different ways. So I definitely highly suggest that you look into where your Mercury is in your chart, because this is going to be especially difficult for Scorpios, for Geminis, and I think for Virgos as well, probably. So fun for me. I'm a Gemini sun and a Virgo moon, so we'll see how this goes. And my Pluto's in Scorpio. Fun stuff. So, oh, and Gemini's ruled by Mercury. So this is why I love talking about Mercury retrograde, because it used to affect me, and it used to affect me in a major way, because Virgo's also ruled by Mercury. So it can be pretty intense for somebody with my chart makeup. So if you guys are interested in learning about your chart makeup, you can go to crystalsofquartz.com and look into some of my Mercury readings. And we have tons of other reading options as well. All right, now to get back to the meat of it, right? So ask yourself at this time, what do you really want? What are your desires? Listen to your intuition, whether you feel it in your gut, whether you feel it in your third eye, whether you feel it in your tips of your fingers or the tips of your toes. Pay attention to those feelings and go with them during this time. It's an excellent time for shadow work, so take time to really look within. It's a time of transformation, so get into your cocoon, right? It's a good time to really avoid socializing, not all the way, because, you know, sometimes we need socialization, it feels good, but it's a good time to kind of step back from some social media platforms, for instance, Facebook. I don't know about you, but Facebook has been too much for me lately, and I noticed myself, or also, you know, in that Mars retrograde, I noticed myself getting a little bit ready to fight with people that I don't really need to spend the time with, right? I have more productive things. I can work on me instead. So I would recommend maybe we take breaks from Facebook, because if it's not feeling good to you, it's not worth it, right? And then you may want to take a break from social media platforms in general. And I would also suggest avoiding large crowds, because the energy is going to be very intense. Plus, if COVID is rising, it's good to just stay away from that anyway. So that's all about the Scorpio aspect, right, of this that's going on. Well, the sun is in Libra, right? The thing about Mercury is it's so close to our sun that it doesn't really move far away from the sign that the sun is in, right? That's why the sun is in Libra and Mercury is in the next sign, which is Scorpio. Well, at the end of this retrograde, the sign of Mercury is going to move back into the sign of Libra, interestingly enough, right? So it's going to move back into that. It's going to end at 25 degrees of Libra, and a lot of crazy stuff is going to happen, right? This is happening on November 3rd, so presidential election time, right? And basically a lot of interesting things are going to be happening. We have Mercury square the big three, which is Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. They've been wreaking havoc on us for a while now. So a square is a very tense aspect. It's going to be crazy things happening around this election on November 3rd. It's going to probably be a history-making thing that's happening. So take from that what you will, but be prepared for a lot of interesting stuff happening, right? Mercury is also opposite Eris, which, if you don't know about Eris, it is the goddess of discord, and that's going to really bring a lot of discord, right? It's going to really add to that energy. And so just so you know, when something is opposite Mercury and there's a square, that means that Eris is also going to be opposite those big three planets that are causing a lot of crazy transformation and societal stuff, right? Because they're out planets. So that deals with more societal rather than personal life. So that's going to be kind of crazy. And then I would really just recommend, again, that we just kind of take some time during this time to set our electronics aside and to look within and to do our shadow work. Now, I know that was a lot to unpack. It's a retrograde. There's a lot going on during this retrograde, and Scorpio is deep and intense. So I went deep and intense with you. I hope you liked it. Marceline loved it. She loves when I talk about this stuff. She's my little familiar. I hope you enjoyed her. And we will definitely talk soon. I'm here for you during this retrograde. Remember that you are the only one that can truly impact your life. No matter what's going on in the stars, you have the ability to sit back, to meditate, and to focus on your own life, and to know that really it's all within your hands, right? You can create your own destiny, right? And everything is not necessarily set in stone. We have things that are happening that create a certain energy, but you decide how you react to it. So I'm hoping that this forecast gives you a little bit of information before it all goes down, and you can use this positively. Take some time off, take some time to look within. And again, I'm here for you throughout. If you want any sort of reading, I'm definitely here for you. And I'm happy to talk to you about your Mercury sign. I'm happy to talk to you about any other aspects of your chart, tarot card readings, you name it. I'm here for you. All right, guys, much love. I want to keep this relatively short. Thank you so much for watching. If you love this video, please hit subscribe, comment, like, let me know how you're feeling. Let me know if you want any other sort of videos, if you have any other questions about Mercury or anything else spiritual, I'm here for you. All right. Have a beautiful day, guys, and I hope that this retrograde allows you to have a beautiful blossoming transformation.